Anybody that does not allow comments, like Mystery School, is suspect. His videos are, okay. Well, now you know why I don't allow comments. Yeah, you just got schooled by the mysteries and magic of my mind. And of course I'm kidding. I don't know what I would be suspect of when in the very first video I did, I stated why I didn't allow comments. Positive or negative, it's the same to me because I'm depolarized. I don't need the validation to continue doing what I'm doing. I'm going to be doing this anyway, regardless of anyone's opinion. But the real reason I don't allow comments on the videos is because YouTube is notorious for having comment wars, and I just don't want to deal with that. Now, I do have good familiar spirits who tell me things. Yesterday, I was told to Google my name, Frater Xavier, and I came across a video called Honest Review of Frater Xavier. The funny thing about this video is that immediately after I watched it, it was taken down. So I seen it just in time. Like literally, I refreshed the page and it was gone. But thanks to my spirits and synchronicity, I got the message. And it wasn't so much of a review as it was a thank you for helping him to come to terms with a lot of the things that he's been dealing with. But I wanted to go a step further because what he was talking about is very personal to me. Namely, coping with fear so strong that it's like having panic attacks to where you think you're going to die. That level of anxiety. And also coming to terms with the occult and magic when being brought up in a Christian environment. All these things I had to go through and was a major sticking point for me until I came to terms with it. So I want to address that. I get asked a lot how to cope with fear in general. So I'm going to address all of this today. A couple of months ago, I was contacted by another individual who wanted to hire me and pay me a pretty nice sum of money to take away his fear. Now, this person lives in Afghanistan, which I have to say probably isn't the best place to overcome fear. This other individual went to another magician prior to me and hired him to do what he wanted me to do, take away his fear, and just made it worse by taking his money and then demanding more money, and convinced this individual that he was casting curses upon him and visiting him at night, which made him even more afraid. Now, here's the thing about fear. Fear gets a bad rap in the spiritual community. You're supposed to have no fear. Well, fear is necessary. Fear keeps you from doing stupid shit, such as jumping off of bridges, committing crimes against other people, and summoning demons when you don't know how to banish. Things that keep you alive. Having looked at this individual's chart, yes, there was fear all through it. I could see how the planet alignments were very conducive to contributing to his fear. But I did not accept the contract and the job, because I could not take away his fear. See, I could help him manage his fear and to cope with his fear and overcome that fear. However, I could not just simply take away all his fear. And he was very adamant about me taking and removing all of his fear to become totally, completely fearless, which is not healthy either. And having absolutely no fear in a place like Afghanistan is probably more likely to get you killed than having a healthy dose of fear. So I refused to do that job as he wanted it done. Now, for dealing with extreme levels of fear and anxiety, go back to the very first couple videos that I've done on this channel and practice that exercise of banish, deny, reject those thoughts that come into your mind. See, spirits will put thoughts into people's minds that aren't theirs, yet they think they are theirs. Okay? When it comes to extreme fear, though, you can kind of tell because you'll start arguing with yourself. Shut up, leave me alone. You know, stop putting these, I want to stop thinking about this. I can't stop thinking about this. The fear that you're experiencing are from thoughts, okay? It's a mental activity. It may feel as if your body's wigging out first and being real anxious first, and then the thoughts come, but that's a result of the thoughts first, actually. Remember, all things begin in the mind. All things begin with the thoughts. So you need to start regulating your thoughts, and it can be a battle. I had to do this myself. This is how I know what worked for me. And it can take a little while until you get into a habit of banishing, deny, rejecting those thoughts that enter your mind that you do not want. This will go a long way to relieving the fear, the extreme fear and anxiety that you feel. Because once you get into a habit of automatically, I banish that thought, I reject that thought, I deny that thought. Once you get into a habit of that, the thoughts don't even want to bother with trying anymore. It just gives up, okay? And it may take a couple months, but you get into a habit of it. But once you get into a habit of it and it's an automatic reaction that you just do this, this will help alleviate that fear. You'll be a lot more relaxed. You also want to stay off of anything mercurial that will amp you up, like caffeine, anything that hits the nervous system directly. Or use calming agents such as chamomile. I know it's not a manly drink or anything, but it's to help calm your nerves. I use chamomile herb directly in a lot of my incenses and spell work when I need a calming agent. Sometimes you get clients who, like to, freak out on you. You might want to stay away from sugars. Sugar is in everything in the American diet. So you want to start limiting your sugar intake as well, and try to get off of the processed foods, even if gradually, because you don't want to cause your system to go into some kind of shock for not, getting what it's used to. These things will help calm you, get you a little bit more relaxed. Now, even though I said fear is necessary, you don't want to go into doing your ritual work and your magic with doubt and fear. I mean, yes, it can hinder you, but fear is an energy like every other energy. It can make things happen. So if you're going to be afraid of something, be afraid of success. But yes, spirits, entities, thought forms can influence people's thoughts. I mean, if they couldn't, then I couldn't do half the work I do for my clients. I wouldn't have found that video review. See, the discerning factor for me is to ask myself, why would I think something like that? See, that's usually a big clue, all right? If you're having that kind of level of fear, you also want to do an uncrossing ritual, which is something people need to do anyway. I'm actually due myself. And people get crossed up for all kinds of reasons. It's not always somebody else casting something on you. Far more often, it's nature spirits and thought forms that get upset with you over something. And it could be anything. You can piss off the nature spirits by cutting the grass as an act of aggression against nature or something. So it should be a basic part of your defense. Now, this individual who did the review on me told a story about how he was very fearful, and he was in bed one night and he started reading the Psalms, and he kept reading it and doing it louder and louder and louder, and all of a sudden the door blew in and a strong gust of wind rushed into the room. See, what he had inadvertently done was a banishing and a partial uncrossing there. The uncrossing ritual relies heavily upon using the Psalms. Well, almost anything in hoodoo, really. And also calls upon the archangel Michael. So this individual wanted to know how he can reconcile his Christian upbringing with occult magic. And that's an example. I use the Psalms and the Bible quite a lot in my practice. It's an immensely powerful book, especially to those who had that strict religious upbringing. Now, when I've talked in the past about how people take it literally instead of taking it symbolically, I don't want to give the impression that, oh, well, I don't have to take it literally, so I'm not going to pay attention to that. No, if anything, you should pay more attention to it. It makes it even that much more powerful. The subconscious side of the mind is vastly, vastly more powerful than the conscious side of the mind, understand? So why not use that to your advantage, since you've been programmed subconsciously along those lines anyway? Makes sense. So in ceremonial magic, it's not as difficult as you may think reconciling it with your Christian religious upbringing when you're using the Bible, calling the archangels, using Hebrew. Now, all these things may feel strange to you at first, but after a while you start getting the understanding, and then you start realizing how everything is symbolic. And that's what makes it more powerful. So I hope this helps this individual on his particular path, because I had to deal with these things myself. Now, most of the other questions that I receive about fear are more, how do you overcome fear of doing spell work and ritual and these practices in your temple in the dark with just a candlelight? To that, you can take some of the suggestions that I've mentioned here, but for the most part, you just simply have to power through it. You get used to it. I mean, it takes a lot, a lot to scare me. Now, everyone can be startled. There's a difference between, true fear and being startled. Things are going to startle you. And as I talked about before, they only seem to happen when you don't expect it to. So if you're expecting something to happen, it's most likely not going to. So I mean, if the weird things didn't happen, I don't think I would have kept up with the occult, because it proves to me that there's more going on. After a while, you just get used to it. Like anything else, experience is the best teacher. This is why in the neophyte grade, you're practicing banishing and calling the archangels or whoever your tradition calls to the quarters for protection, so that you can deal with things when they happen later on, that you know what to do. And if you know what to do, why is there reason to be afraid? There is none. Now things will startle you, things will happen, you know, the jump scare type things, you know, the candles flaring up, or you know, weird lights in the room flashing, um, you know, different things, noises, loud noises, bangs, you know, jump scare type stuff. Things you aren't expecting, and then they happen, and you're like, whoa. But, you know, then I just laugh them off. I mean, it startled me. All right, you got me. That was... You may want to perform your own rite to alleviate your fears. The sun and Sunday would be good for that. But really, it's just a matter of getting used to it. And not really being disturbed by it. Because, I mean, why would you do magic if you don't believe in these things? And if you believe in these things, they shouldn't bother you because you know how to handle them. I've never had anything come out of the ground to grab me or claim my soul or anything like that. Now, you may get touched, usually on the head, you know, usually on the hair. But, I mean, again, you get used to that kind of thing. It's not a big deal. You know, because the rituals and the rites that you do are designed to give you authority over spirits. So don't, you know, be afraid of the spirits that you have authority over. So I hope this helps people overcome their fears, not only of magic and the occult, but, you know, those hardcore fear attacks as well. And I'll see you next time. Take care.